How important is decision making training, swing, no swing, in comparison to swing mechanics?
I'd say more important. I think all of these things are like really small variables in really large buckets. So like say you have a big bucket and there's like 20 different marbles in there. And all of those things are going to contribute to your hitting. And some are a little bit bigger than the others, but not by much. So like, do your mechanics matter? Like, yes, absolutely. In my opinion, like I've hardly ever had to directly talk about mechanics with players. I have. But there's a lot of other boxes to check before that. Like, is this player even strong enough to swing the bat here? Are they even mobile enough to get into these positions? I think those are directions that I absolutely find myself like looking at before I'm looking at like their mechanics per se, or at least for solutions for those mechanical deficiencies. Um, but the swing decisions thing is huge. Like, you're not gonna have success if you're swinging at crap or if you're not swinging at all. Period. Unless you're an outlier case and um, I want to say myself, like just taking pitches right down the middle and somehow walking my way to first base the majority of the time. But the uh, the swing decisions piece is a huge factor. I did a little study and made some content on this a while back about the value in your swing decisions from a monetary standpoint is way more valuable than your batted ball quality. So like Aaron Judge gained the Yankees more runs by making good decisions than he did hitting his home runs, and he was the best hitter in baseball. So for me to say that about him, what do you think everybody else's look like? And it's very similar, if that wasn't obvious enough. So um, it's a hard thing to train, and we're finding ways now currently to like implement it into more pieces of training. And it stems back to approach and the mental piece and all that stuff we were talking about before. Um, but I'll leave it at that for now. Go ahead, Josh.
I think for me, I've never was taught what a good and bad swing decision is. I feel like this is a newer thought process because if you know anything about the way I play, like I wanted to walk, that was my goal.
Mm.
But I refused to swing at the first pitch. I took the amount of times I've gotten yelled at for taking a first
Dude,
pitch
you've
heater
taken
right down
over
Broadway.
10,000 at bat first pitches in
But
your career.
but then somehow I get to two strikes and I get a hit. Like, but to go over what I was saying, like I never got taught what was a good and bad swing decision. I
Right.
just saw so many pitches over my life that I got blessed. I was had the ability of seeing spin. So I could tell you what was a changeup, what was a slider, what was a fastball, right? Not everybody has that. So I think out of what the new school age of teaching, I think teaching swing decision has made it people so much better hitters because they don't know what they're swinging at. Like if you get an 0-0 and there's a kid on second with no outs, what's your job? You're trying to drive a ball, right? And you're swinging at a 0-0 slider in the dirt. Clearly you had no thought process going into that whole at bat. So it dives back to, did I get taught what I'm supposed to do? And I've seen more teaching of approach and swing decision than mechanics. I think mechanics is what it is. There's so many funky swings in today's game is that if you're putting bat on ball and you're moving your legs properly, no one's going to change much. But I think like what you were saying, like the thought process of approach and swing decision has totally outlifted the I need to force mechanics on these kids because you're just teaching kids how to actually be a hitter and not just a swinger. Like it goes back to the saying of a thrower and a pitcher, right? Like you're actually teaching a kid how to be a complete hitter and not a guy that's just going to go hunt heaters and hopes he makes contact. So for me, it's like, I love that portion. So when I see people put content out of like, hey, was that a pitch you actually wanted to swing at? And the kid goes, no. And you sit down and break it down. It's like, I love that stuff because you're actually teaching them how to be hitters and not just up there to swing at fastballs and then go back to the dugout. I think it's phenomenal stuff. And I loved the question when Zach sent these out because I was like, I love that stuff because I had the natural ability, but not everybody does. And I think that's one of the biggest things that doesn't get taught a lot, but now has been at the forefront of how training is supposed to be.